Okay, I think Yaz is having mic issues. Anyway, Yaz, no worries. Yaz, just put on the chat. Um, a little bit about yourself, a little introduction, and that's it. Right, everyone. Without further ado, let's get started. The speaker for this evening, the afternoon evening, is someone who probably all of us know. He's a great gentleman to myself. He's been helping me quite a lot in this year, in this journey. To some of us, he needs no introduction. His name is Jack Davra. He has over 10 years, sorry, over a decade of experience in the property space. Again, like I
The
said,
phone and call her, help her.
like I said, without further ado, Jack, come on, wow us with your knowledge, and let's help these people understand what the call is all about.
All right, okay. Thank you, Moro. So, guys, I just want to. There's lots of people facing tech issues. I don't know why Zoom is giving us a bit of trouble. I think there's at least another 10 odd people that I'm expecting to join. But let's see. The team is here to help them out, to bring them in. But I'm going to start with the session. So the subject of this session is very, very simple. How do you make at least 100 grand from doing a single deal? I'll give you an example on, well, there's lots that I've done in my life, but let me give you an example of a couple of them so you can see through a bit. So I did a deal where it came in the market at 330, a 3-bed residential terraced house. The day I walked in, I came out, I gave an offer of 320. I didn't get it. Someone else took the property. It came back in the market because they could not complete. I was the first one to walk in the second time. I proposed 280 this time because I knew instinctively, because at least 2 months or about 2.5 months have gone past, I knew instinctively that the landlord might be desperate to get his money now. So I proposed 280. And we eventually ended up agreeing at 285. This was a property in Slough. And we spent about 85 rand refurbing the property. Eventually now it's worth over 500,000, adding equity worth 120 grand. The property is now bringing in £2,000 in rental income. Okay. It took me about 2 hours of 3 months. So 2 hours of 5 or 6 days of about 3 months of doing the refurb. That's all the time I invested into the deal. Okay. We made over 120 grand in the deal in equity, as in adding value, because we got it cheaper as well as we added equity in the property. I actually decided to keep the property in the portfolio. So we've kept the property and not sold it because it's a really high capital growth area. Another deal that I did at the back of that is this hotel came in the market at 350 grand. It was a 20-bed operational hotel. We went in, we proposed 200. It was obviously rejected. Again, it went to someone else. We didn't get the property. It came back in the market 3 months later because they couldn't get finance. I was again the first one to walk in, and this time I proposed 220, and it got accepted. We added another 11 operational rooms on top of the 20, making it a 31-bed hotel. We spent 65 rand on the additional rooms and a bit of electric work and so on. So the cost to us was about £285,000. Now it's worth over 500,000, bringing in £47,000 in net rental income a year. We bought this property completely full in cash. We didn't take any mortgage. So the rental income that we're getting now is all net rental income to us. Again, the equity that we added into this property is £215,000. And again, we decided to keep the hotel and we've leased it out on an FRI lease to a corporate company. Another deal that we did was we took an option agreement on a really large detached house in Wembley. We applied for planning. So when I say option agreement, for those who don't know, an option agreement is when you agree on a delayed completion and you only pay a very small percentage of the price. We only paid £1 for the option agreement. with a delayed completion agreed in 24 months at a 1.1 million purchase price. We applied for planning permission. We got the planning permission for 8 units. That's 6 flats and 2 semis, because it was a really large plot. We did not develop it. We sold the option agreement without completing it for 1.7 million, making a 600 grand profit. Our investment was 20 grand between legals, architects, and planners. And we walked away with that profit. Why am I sharing this with you? Okay. Only reason is just to maybe build a bit more credibility, maybe share my experience in the journey. I have been in business pretty much most of my life. I joined my family business when I was 14 years old, and then went through several businesses and so on and so forth. I even led a chauffeur company. I started a chauffeur company back in 2003. I built that company to 47 drivers, sold it in 2014. I was an accidental landlord in 2003. I'm also a finance broker. I'm also a qualified financial advisor. So I tend to see a lot more deals behind the scene that most people don't tend to see. At any given time, there's 200 plus active finance cases going on, helping us see a lot more depth into what works and what doesn't. So I can look at any deal and I can tell you immediately within 5 or 10 minutes if it's going to work or not. I have realized through this journey of 21 years that the strategy that's most profitable with the least amount of effort is planning gain. That's planning uplift. So what do I mean by that is, for those who may be new or may not know about this, is you buy a piece of land or you take an option on a piece of land, you apply for planning permission for multiple units, either residential or commercial, and then when you get the planning permission, without developing it, you uplift the value of that piece of land and or whatever that asset might be. In our case, it was a really large detached house. And when we sold it to a developer, he eventually ended up demolishing that and building 8 units on top of that. But that planning uplift can be substantial, especially if you are in southeast of UK. If you are up north, it can be not. It may not be as much of a planning uplift, purely because for planning uplift to work or maximizing the land value, the region has to be worth over 300 square foot in value for a new build. And if you look at some of the northern regions, they're not necessarily, they don't hit that mark of 300 a square foot in value. The regions that don't hit that mark, you're not going to really get much planning uplift value. The areas that do, so for example, the likes of Wembley, you can easily hit about 500 a square foot in value, £500, I mean, which means that the planning uplift really works well in the London and the counties. Okay, so that's what the game is. I'm actually gonna go through, because I want to keep this session very interactive. It's not about just me speaking. I want to understand your challenges so I can be a lot more specific with what is it that you find challenging in your journey, or maybe you're just a newbie and are trying to understand what to focus on. So I can see top of the list, Adiola. If you can maybe write in the chat box, what are the top 3 challenges you're facing, or 2 big challenges that you're facing that might help you in your journey? Or maybe just open the mic and tell us, by all means.
Well, I was not expecting you're going to call me. Well, to be honest, so I was not even prepared.
I'd love to see you. I'd love to see you if you can switch on your camera.
Sorry, I'm driving, so I'm just using my.
That's okay. Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about yourself.
As I've said earlier on, my name is Adiola. I will do some few properties in West Midland with my husband, and we rent it out. But I think the only challenge is that I felt, and it's gotten to a time now. As I've said, most of what we do is that we buy property on mortgages and we rent it out. But I've been having challenges in how to do flip over. All right, I have to buy properties and flip it over, as in, and then you get your money, because the problem about renting is that sometimes you get stuck with it, and then you want to move on. You know, you want to do some other things, but because it's a renting, you just have to be on it. So it's not that it's not giving you quite a good money, but it's just that you want something that you can get your money out of it and move out. So I think I don't really know how to go about it, because how to get those property that you can flip over, because it's difficult. Most of the property we get here, most of them, it's difficult for you to just get a low, what is it called? Less for the, what is it called? The market value, low market value that you can buy, do some changes on it, and then resell it and flip over, and I've not done auction before. So I think that is my major challenge. That's what I was thinking, that I'll be able to get to see how one can go about doing that. And then, because I've not done that before.
All right. Okay. So from my understanding, I'm going to try and rephrase this. What you're trying to do is find properties that are run down enough at a price where you're able to pull out all of your money, at least most of your money, so you can rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it's like get a property with a, what's it called? Get a property, renovate and refurbish, and then like use a bridging loan, do it, and then we sell again, get your money out of it, and then go.
Yeah. So what you're looking for is properties that are enough rundown at a price point which will allow you to pull out all of your money so you can rinse and repeat. Okay, sounds good. I will actually show you this on how you can do that, okay, in this session, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay. I can see you next in the list is Ahmed. Ahmed, would you like to open your mic and share about yourself and the challenges? I don't know if Ahmed can. Yeah, hi. Hi, tell us about yourself and what are the big challenges?
Yeah, I am Ahmed. I'm just, fresh into property. I've got a couple of buy-to-lets. But yeah, I want to look at scaling up my portfolio. But my challenge was, I was thinking to get into like commercial conversions, because that might be a faster way to expand my portfolio. So I guess my challenge is just how to get started.
Okay, all right, sounds good. I'm gonna cover some of those aspects so you can see through a bit, Ahmed. Okay.
All right.
I'm writing all the challenges so I can go to starting on commercial conversions. Russell, I can see you next in the list. Would you like to open your mic and tell us about yourself? What are the big challenges?
Yeah, I haven't been given much time to it so far, but I think I was looking at it about a year ago, and probably the biggest challenge is finding the right deals, really. I live in the southeast as well, so the southeast is attractive to me, but it's finding the right deals and getting the
finding the right deals. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to cover finding the right deals in as much detail as I potentially can. Thank you, Russell, for that. Colm, I can see you next to the list. Maybe share one or two challenges, please.
Me?
Yes, Colm. Good to see you, buddy.
So good to see you. One or two challenges are just finding investors for some deals that I learn about through developers that I work with as an introducer. So finding investors or raising finance, raising funding.
All right, okay. So finding the right deals, finding investors. I will cover that in as much detail as I potentially can. Thank you, Colm, for that. Damir, I can see you next in the list. Maybe share one or two challenges, please.
Hiya. Well, I don't know, yesterday we we spoke already.
Yes,
But
yes.
anyway,
but do share so people can see through. It's probably similar challenges.
I'm actually let me put the camera on that I can wave. I don't know if it's visible.
Good to see you.
Camera is
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Well, my challenges are at the moment building a list of HMOs for rent to HMO strategy. So I'm trying to find the properties that would fit the criteria of profitability. And then that's the first challenge, is then to find the properties. Then the second challenge is to negotiate to get the deals actually over the line. So that's basically for
Okay,
me.
so finding and negotiating rent to HMO deals.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Damir. I can see Hassan next in the list. Hassan, would you like to tell us about yourself and what are the big challenges, please? I can see Imran next in the list. Hassan, when you can, please open your mic and let us know. Imran, I know you said you're still new and the headline of this event attracted you. It really is what it is. It's how do you find a deal that's going to make you at least 100 grand, up all the way up to £1 million. It's not very difficult, I promise you that. It's simple. Is it completely easy? No, but it's simple. If you keep it simple, it can be easy as well. A lot of people get this shiny penny syndrome where they start looking at 500,000 things at a time rather than trying to go in depth for one single strategy or one single channel of creating a pipeline. Okay, so it's easy. I'll cover that, Imran, for you.
Just say something. My other challenge is time. I'm involved with a couple of tech businesses, and they take a lot of my time because there's enough people in the businesses. They also take in money. Also, I have a parent who has dementia. My time is, so I need a strategy that doesn't take much time and doesn't take much capital because I really don't have it. So I'm looking for a strategy that's more.
It's look, everyone has 24 hours, okay? While you mentioned this, okay, I look after my mom as well. I'm doing this session from Delhi, India. And that's because I'm here because I want to spend more time with my mom. She's elderly, she needs a little bit of help. So I don't think most people have very similar challenges, Imran. When I'm investing my time in any idea, either it is tech or property, I'm always thinking as an investor rather than as a manager. Because when you are managing, you're likely not going to have much time left. Okay, so you need to start thinking like an investor more of. I'm not saying you stop doing management because sometimes it doesn't quite work, but you need to start thinking more like an investor. I know you're saying you don't have necessarily as much capital either, but maybe now it's time to think, okay, how do I raise funding? How do I make it work without me necessarily being there all the time? And if it doesn't work, then it's not a feasible idea. I can tell you I refuse loads of deals purely because it requires too much of my time and I'm not prepared to give that. Okay, so it really is, there's 3 levels. I want to cover this very quickly so we can actually jump onto the real, core of the session. There are 3 levels, right? There's the technician, there's the manager, and there's the leader or the investor. Okay, you do have to start as a technician, you do have to promote yourself to the manager level, and then you do have to promote yourself to the investor or the leader level. If you don't keep zooming out and giving yourself that promotion, you will always be involved in management and you'll never be able to scale, never have enough time for yourself. And if the idea is not feasible enough to give you that promotion to be able to scale past, then it is what it is. Okay, 90+% of ideas are not feasible purely because there's just not enough profit margins to recruit a technician, to recruit managers, to be able to zoom out and act like an investor. But unfortunately, most people cannot see through, leading to just lots and lots of time investment and not enough profits at the back of that. I hope that makes a bit more sense. Okay, but that's what it is. There's nothing else. Look, you have 24 hours, I have 24 hours, Bill Gates has 24 hours, Elon Musk has 24 hours. There's none of us who has any more time, okay? The only thing that's different is they understand that there is a full difference between being a technician, being a manager, and being the leader or the investor. Okay, and in many cases, if you don't have the money, you're now just the leader where you're raising funding for it. I can look at sometimes these. I looked at one this morning. It was providing about 14% return on the money invested. I'm not going to invest because I have to pay my investor 12%. If it is going to provide 20% plus return on money invested, I will then think about it, because then I'm raising 12% from the investor. I can then make the gap of 8%. But if it's giving me 14% and I'm acting like an investor, does that make sense? Okay, and this applies to any idea. I hope that answers to your question to some extent. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Like I said, this applies to property as well, and I gave you an example of just one this morning. I am just gonna go through the list. Malani, I can see you next. I know you said that you are a rent-to-rent operator. Tell us a big challenge that you're facing at the moment.
I'd say how to stack deals, how to stack rent-to-rent deals.
You mean how, or finding the deals that stack?
I'd probably say finding the deals I'm managing to find, but making sure they stack and being confident in your numbers.
And that's rent-to-rent deals.
Yes.
Okay. And can I ask you where are you based?
Right now I live in Doncaster.
Doncaster. And
Yeah.
how good is the demand in Doncaster for rent-to-rent?
I'm not too sure because I don't focus on Doncaster at the moment.
Where do you focus?
Manchester, Birmingham, and Nottingham.
And have you taken out enough data from AirDNA, and have you tested Spare Room and a bunch of other sites for the demand?
Yes, yeah, I've done that, but it's just being confident in my own work, basically.
Confidence comes from doing it.
Okay.
It doesn't come from sitting on the edge and thinking about it. Unfortunately or fortunately, okay? I always look at a deal and say, am I going to lose money? And if the answer is no, I'll go ahead with it. Because once you realize that you're not going to lose money, the only way is up. So you might make a little bit of money or you might make lots of money, but the only way to get confident about any deal, either it is rent to rent or a rent to HMO or a flip deal or a planning uplift deal or a development conversion deal, the only way is to just do it, okay? Risk mitigation is something that, you got to do. So SWOT analysis, risk mitigation, that's the primary thing to do in any deal. And I tend to do that all the time. I was doing risk mitigation on deal this morning, and unfortunately, I had to kind of delay it because certain aspects of that deal, risk needs to be mitigated along the way. So you do need to do that. I hope that makes sense?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. I think you said you've signed up your first deal.
Yeah.
Okay, when did you sign that?
No, I sold.
Oh, you sold your first rent to HMO deal or a rent to rent deal?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so another thing I'd like to share with everyone here is, and I actually made this video on YouTube. I said, stop wasting your time on rent to rent.
Okay.
Okay. And I say this with respect and humility. I don't mean it in a degrading or a negative way. Okay. I find rent to rent space not enough profitable. Okay. If you are going to invest 6 months of your time or 6 years of your time or 20 years of your time on something, invest it into something that you know has future. Okay.
Okay.
I feel the future sits in developments. I feel the future sits in conversions. I don't see future in rent to rent. Okay. Yes, there are operators who are sitting on 100, 200. I personally know people who are sitting on 500 plus rent to rent deals, but I can assure you it's not an easy business to be sitting on. Okay. I know people who are sitting on, 500 plus rent to rent deals, and they shrunk it to 200. I know someone who is sitting on 140 plus rent to rent deals in London, lately decided to shrink. I know someone personally who's sitting on a nearly 200 deals, rent-to-rent deals in Kent, decided to shrink, and purely because it's a much higher risk business with a lot least profitable business, I must say. Okay. So I find rent-to-rent space as not necessarily the best use of your time. If you're going to do it, you might as well invest your time into learning developments, conversions, planning uplifts, flips. And then even rent to HMO is better than rent to rent, because rent to HMO is there's a lot more security in it. At the same time, it's a growing market. It's not a shrinking market. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I hear that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you focus on rent to HMO, for example, I think you will find more security of money income, as well as a growing market, as well as on a single deal. On the worst case scenario, even if you make 500, I mean, you can make about 1,000 on a rent to HMO deal. But even if you make 500 and now you're sitting on 10 of these, you're making $5 grand, which is still not bad money. Okay, I'm not a fan of, and I say this with humility, if I'm not making £250,000, 250,000 a year, I'm not a happy man. Okay. But when you're starting out and you're new and you're young, okay, I'm not young, I'm in the early 40s. Okay, when you're new and you're young, I think if you're making 100 grand, that's not bad money. Okay. And by all means, like I said, I am one of those people who likes pushing the barriers. And if you're one of them as well, and you're prepared to work 18, 20 hours a day, which is what I did when I was in my 20s, you can easily make $500,000 a million a year from property. But that money is not easily going to come from rent-to-rent space. It's definitely going to come from developments. Okay. All right. I hope that makes some sense, because remember, there's nothing black and white. It's a lot of gray, and I can only share my experience with you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna cover how to find the right deals, how to find more investors, and so on and so forth. Okay. Michael, I can see you next in the list. Would you like to tell us maybe one big challenge that you're facing at the moment?
Yeah, for me, it's a similar train of thought. Time. I go selling every day, so I go to different areas. So occasionally I see something on the periphery. I think, oh yeah, that's overgrown. And the other thing is using software sites to try and find something.
Yes. Likes of Nimbus, Land Insight, Property Data. I think there's Property Filter. There's a bunch of them. Yes.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
finding the time to sit down, put your parameters in, and get going. I often don't get back till 7 or 8 at night, and then I'm out at 8 or 9 in the following morning. So restricted time.
Okay, I'm gonna share something with people which most, I think, people don't realize. I don't think you struggle, and I don't think anyone on this planet struggles with time. Okay, I think most people struggle with focused energy. I'll tell you what I mean by that. So when you have focused energy on working smart rather than hard, you will make a lot more money. I'll give you an example so you can see through, okay? I've been working on 6 deals simultaneously today alone, okay? One of those deals I shared earlier brings in 14% return on money invested. And if I'm borrowing at 12%, I'm not going to make much money. That's what you call working hard for money. It's smart money. Another deal that I'm working on brings in exactly 20% return on money invested. It will be managed by someone else. All I have to do is bring the investor on board, understand the depth of the deal, buy the deal, give it to the management company, and forget about it. Okay? And that deal is going to bring me £1,000 a month for the rest of my life. Okay? That's what I call compounded knowledge and focused energy on one thing and one thing only, which is increasing your passive rental income. Instead of being on a treadmill of finding deals and then keep selling them and keep flipping them, you're on a treadmill. That's not smart money. Smart money is when you do a deal and you add it to the portfolio so it gives you that income consistently for the rest of your life, or at least for many, many years to come. Okay? Because when you do that, let's say you do one deal and you bring in £1,000 a month for the rest of your life. You only need to do about 5 to live a really good life. When you get to about 10 of them, you're now like literally free. You get to 20 of them, and now you're in the top 1% in the country. Okay? That's what I call having enough in-depth knowledge of the deals itself, and then understanding what I shared earlier, which is understanding that being a technician, like Michael, if you're running around and you're still making calls, you're still acting like the technician. Okay, and I'm not saying you don't have to do that. You still have to initially do that to understand the market. Then you promote yourself to the manager level, where you don't necessarily run around a million deals. You only go behind a handful of deals which are going to make you enough money. I shared right at the start that I did the hotel deal. Okay, it's bringing in £47,000 per annum in rental income. That's net. That's a single deal. Okay, I call that a mega life-changing deal. Okay, but you need to understand, how do you find these deals and how to get them over the line, and how do you put that net income in your pocket? Because then you don't need to do 200 deals. You only need to do a handful. Are you with me on this, Michael? That's focused energy.
Yes, understand that.
Yeah. So you need to stop this treadmill thing, right? It's just jumping on one deal to the other, just working on a few deals, understanding how you can structure them in a way where you act as the investor. That means the deal can bring in, let's say, 20, 25, 30% return on money invested. You borrow money from an investor at, let's say, anywhere between 6 to 12%, and then you structure the deal in a way where you control the deal and you make the gap between the 12% and the 20 or 25% or 30% that you're going to make on the money invested. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. Please, everyone, those who understand what I mean here, please raise your hand. Michael, are you with me on this deal?
I'm on board with that. Yeah, I'm on board with it.
Okay, thank you. I hope, again, there's never no black and white answer. It's how you psychologically manage your time and energy. Again, I don't believe in time management. I believe in literally energy management. The reason for that is I probably, in the last 9 months or so, I've probably been working no more than 3 hours a day. And that's because the family, I've been investing a lot of time with family, not investing, spending a lot of time with family. I have young family, young kids, as well as an elderly mother. Okay, but I'm still making a good amount of money from the deals that we are closing, as well as the rental income that we've created in the past that gives us complete freedom to not have to worry. I mean, I can just stop working today and I never have to worry, purely because I've created enough rental income to back me up. Okay. And I will share with you all of this on how you can do that as well. So it's not like I'm just telling you on the surface that, okay, you can do deals like that. I'll actually share with you how to find deals like that, how to see if they stack up or not, how to find investors for it, and how do you get them over the line and keep rinse and repeat. Okay. I'm going to get back to you on this bit, Mike.
Sorry, you've gone funny on the sound on your end.
All right. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me loud and clear now?
I can.
Okay. So I was saying, I'm going to cover the aspect of how do you find deals like that? How do they stack? That means doing your appraisal. And how do you find investors? How do you get them over the line? And how do you rinse and repeat? Okay. I will cover as much as I can in this session.
Okay.
Moses, I can see you next in the list. Tell us a challenge that you're facing at the moment.
It's mainly just learning about where to start because it seems quite vast.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I'll share that with you as well, Moses. Stephen, tell us one challenge.
It's Stefan, that one.
Stefan, sorry, my apology. Stefan, tell us about one big challenge.
So I'm in a completely different industry, but I've been looking at trying to find a property more in the line of land, and the reason for that is we are based in Cambridge. A lot of properties quite expensive, so the idea was to try and find land that potentially can be converted and get planning permission on, and things like that. So it's again, maybe similar to some of the others, maybe where to start. I've identified a property, a little bit of research with the architects and the guys that just said, don't even consider, because obviously it's surrounded by agricultural land and stuff like that. But again, it's just knowing sort of where to start and how to get in without having to necessarily, if you don't necessarily have the money, how to tackle that. That makes sense.
All right. Okay. So, Stefan, I will cover what I can. I've been asked so many questions. It almost feels impossible to cover everything. I'll cover some aspects of what I can, and we'll go from there. I'm not going to go through the rest of the list because otherwise we'll just take forever for this session. Okay. I'm going to continue with the session. Other people that I've not asked so far, please write your challenges in the chat box, and I'll be happy to answer those questions at the end of the session. Okay. I'm going to jump right into the session. Okay. See, the starting point is understanding your strategy. Okay, where do you sit in the strategy space? If you are one where you don't have a lot of money to invest, your space is going to be rent to HMO. Secure. You can make 500 to 1,500 pounds, sometimes 2,000 pounds a single deal. You get to 10 of them. You've got decent money coming in. You scale that to 20 and 30 and 40. You've got a company at the back of that you can eventually sell. The way to find these rent to HMO deals is, remember, HMO register is a public, it's public information. You can go to your council's website and download the HMO register that will allow you to approach these landlords. If you don't find it on the local council's website, ring the local council and ask for it. You have the right to ask for it because it is public information. Okay, so you can download this just through local council's website. Also, by using LinkedIn Premium, you can filter local landlords, and also by attending local events. Those are the three best ways to find local landlords. This applies to flips. This applies to land deals. This applies to development deals, conversion deals. This applies to pretty much everything. You gotta attend your local events. You need to start using LinkedIn Premium because that will help you filter down the local landlords, local investors. Okay. Also, simply by using property data, Nimbus Maps, Land Insight, you can use any of these tools to find local landlords and local deals. All of these tools are very, very, very useful. I pretty much use all of them, okay, or have used all of them at some point in the journey, okay? I'll also share with you a new tool to find deals. Okay, getting back to strategy. So if you don't have a lot of money, you focus on rent to HMO deals, more secure, and you can build up that portfolio pretty quickly. At the same time, if you have some money, then you can focus on flips or conversions, smaller conversions. If you have a little bit more money on developments, and the caveat to this is that if you don't have a lot of money, but have the time and patience, then you can work on planning uplifts. The most profitable out of all of these is planning uplifts. That's when you find a property, either a very large detached property with a large garden, or potential to convert it into multiple flats, or potential to extend, left, right, at the back, to the top, into the loft, whatever that might be. Finding a large piece of property that will allow you to maximize its value. That's where the money is. Okay. I will share with you how do you find these deals. So your strategy sits on the resources. That is, if you have a little money, that's rent to HMO. If you have a little bit more money, you do flips. And if you have a little bit more money, you do developments. And the caveat to that is option agreements on planning uplifts. where you don't necessarily need lots of money, but you can actually gain or make a lot of money just by planning uplift gain, which I shared earlier with you. We only invested 20 grand on a deal and we ended up making 600 grand profits. Okay. Then comes the flips. Okay. How do you find flip deals? And this was a question which was asked earlier. How do you find flip deals? Okay. I'm going to share the screen with everyone and I'm going to share with you how do we find flip deals. Okay. Please raise your hand if you can see my screen of Zoopla.
We can see the screen. We can see it.
Yeah. So anyone, please raise your hand if you'd like to participate with me, because I need you to give me a region you want me to check on.
Jack Sutton for Rajesh.
Sorry, where?
Sutton.
Did you say Suffolk?
Jack. Sorry, my video is not great.
Yes, Rajesh.
Yeah, Sutton. I've got an investor
as in Sutton,
looking for an HMO
Surrey,
in Sutton.
right? Sutton,
Yeah,
Surrey.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Sutton, Surrey. All I did was went to Zoopla, wrote Sutton, Surrey for sale, and I click on it. You can do this on Zoopla, Rightmove, on the market. You can do. They all have pretty similar features. So if I click on this and I click on, let's say, minimum 3 beds, maximum, I'll allow that. Property type, you can click on detached and bungalows. I'll also click on semis. Okay, and then I'll go to filters. And I'll exclude new homes, retirement, I'll leave, shared, I'll exclude, auction, I'll leave. And then, can you see that there are keywords here? Raise your hand if you can see there's a box for keywords. Okay, so I'll just write, I'm not going to write anything at the moment. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Okay, and I'm going to do the search. So I'll come back to the keyword space a bit later. Can you see there's 102 results? And then can you see it says sort, and I'll click the lowest price, highest price, lowest price, most reduced. I'll click the most reduced. Now the first property is a premium, so it says 3.8% discounted. I'm going to scroll through a bit. Now, can you see this property is discounted by or reduced by 11.8%? Raise your hand if you can see that. I'm going to click on this property. And I'm going to go to, I'm going to scroll down a bit. It's a 3-bed semi in SM1, Sheen. And I'm going to scroll down a bit and just go down to listing history. Now, it was last sold in 2019 for 540. Then first listed in October 23, which is about 8 months ago, for 850. And then reduced down over a period of 8 months down to 750. Okay. Now, raise your hand if you think this property is at least 5 to 7% discounted. Raise your hand if you believe that. Yeah. I'm going to also click on the floor plan. There's a large reception room here, and I can see it's not extended at the back, the reception room. I'm going to now go to the pictures. And I'm going to see how big is the garden of the space. Yeah, it's a small townhouse garden, so there's no space to extend. Can you see that, guys?
Yeah, that's quite
so
visible.
There's no space for anyone to add value. Okay. We're gonna scroll down a bit. This one is discounted by 10.3%. Can you see, guys, it's discounted by 10.3% or reduced by 10.3%? Same property. I'm going to check how big is the garden on this. Yeah, it's a small garden again, but there is a deck there, which means that there's potential to extend. All right, guys, can you see there's a deck here? And it is already slightly extended at the back. The likely is that you'll be able to extend another 3 meters to the deck. Okay. Also that there's already a loft at the back, at the top extended. So the only thing really you can do is extend another 3 meters at the back. Okay. That's all the planning or sorry, the gain that you're gonna get by extending 3 meters back. Okay. Now I'm gonna actually go back and click on filters and write modernization. Okay. Modernization. Okay. Now, can you see it's gone from 102 to 7 results? Can everyone see that? Just with one keyword. Now I'm going to click on this property, the first one. It's reduced by 2.8% or discounted by 2.8%. Let's have a look at the pictures. Can you see a large garden? Let's read some details. Yeah, there's a bifold door at the back. There's a big garden there. And there's a garage here as well. So there's garages here. There's big garden at the back. I think from where I see it, there's potential extension possibility. Guys, if you look at this building, the one on the right-hand side is built further ahead of it. Can you see that? Yeah?
Yeah, it's much larger. Well, not
It's
much
much larger than this building. So there's potential. I feel there's potential to extend this building.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then we're going to scroll down a bit. And we're going to look at this bungalow, which is on Woodbury Drive. Now we're going to look at some pictures. Huge garden. And the property seems run down. Can you see the floor? Yeah. It'll probably say needs modernization, I can tell.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it'll probably say that now. 3-bedroom linked detached bungalow, radar, so on and so forth. Location, purchase tenants window. The property sits on a wide plot and already offers spacious living accommodation. There's 2 workshops units on the side as well, which can be eventually converted into 2 rooms. Normally, many of the workshops can be converted into rooms, with potential to improve, extend subject to usual permissions and add a value. Okay. So now this is what I call flip deal. Okay. In Sutton, if you build a 5-bedroom property, it'll probably be worth in the region of 1.2 million, 1.3 million. Yeah. Guys, can you see in need of modernization? Can everyone see that?
Yeah, that's visible. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now you can use the same thing on Rightmove as well as Zoopla all day long. Okay. Let me share with you something very interesting which most people don't know about. I'm going to shut the screen so I can do this. Just give me 1 sec, guys. Please raise your hand if you can see my screen. It's labs.os. It's Ordnance Survey Maps.
You can see, Jack. You can see.
Yep. I'm going to push this down a bit. I'm going to try and go to Sutton. Or if someone else wants to give me a different region, by all means, do give it to me so I can show you. Are we in a similar region? Epsom, Sutton is too far from here. Does anyone want to guide me? Which way is Sutton from Epsom?
Epsom is yeah, it's quite next to Ewell and Sutton, Jack. I know the area very well. It's a little bit more pricey because
Okay.
it's quite highly sought after, but it's still a good area.
Okay, the reason I asked is because I know Epsom. Sutton, I think, is a bit further up, but I don't know which direction it's in. Okay, so let's take Epsom, which is very similar to this area, right? Who gave me
bit more
Sutton?
price.
It's a bit more pricey. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But I know this is a very similar region to that. Okay, so I'm going to show you something very interesting, guys. So can you see that I can see the Ordnance Survey maps of every building here? Please raise your hand if you can see that. Yeah. Now, I'm just picking up random streets and showing you the potential of some of the buildings. It says the old courthouse here. I think these are 1 to 30 flats. Raise your hand if you can see that. Yeah. The one next door to it, seems like 30 flats. That's how big the plot is. While the next door is a similar size plot, not as lengthy, but wider. So similar size plot. And this seems like just 2 houses. Number 1 and 3. Okay. Now this one seems like a single house. Okay. I don't know what this bit is in the middle. Raise your hand if what you see here is potential for 30 flats. Raise your hand. Because there's precedent set already for 30 flats right besides, and a similar size plot with just 2 houses. Even next door to it, it says Ashley Center and Windsor Court. Windsor Court seems to have 16 flats, 1 to 16.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Similar size plot, nothing unusual. I'm going to zoom out a bit, scroll down to other spaces in this. Can you see Phoenix Court 1 to 17? Kirkgate 19 to 31. There's lots of flats here. Now look at this. It says Kirkgate 19 to 31. That means there is 12 flats here. While the next door to it is a single house, number 1. Can everyone see that? Yeah. This is similar. But right in the middle of the high street. That's number 7. pretty big. Just gonna scroll down a bit. Check other regions. All right, very interesting. It seems like a cul-de-sac with a roundabout in the middle and really two big houses at the end of it. Can everyone see that? There's with plots like that, there's always potential to get planning permission for 4 or 5 flats. If you try the market and speak with the local planning officer, okay, or the maybe hire a planning officer. I have a number of one that we use. I can forward it to you. But stuff like that, you can always get, or not always. In many cases, you get planning permission for multiple units. Okay. Look at this size of this plot. Can everyone see this size, this plot size? I don't know what this is, but might be worth for someone to go around and check. This is on Linwood Road. Look at this, number 6. Oh, no, sorry, number 9. Look at the size of this plot. I mean, you could probably put in here 10 flats, 9 flats. At the back of that is number 4. Look at the size of number 4, guys. The garden. What a waste of garden here. Can everyone see number 4? Can you see number 4? Look at the size of the garden, guys. Okay. You can easily fit in more than 10 flats. More, a lot more actually. Okay. Or a good few townhouses. I think you can fit in about 6-7 townhouses there. You can actually measure the size of these plots with Google Maps. There's tools available that you can actually pinpoint and measure the size of this plot. And if you look at number 6 as well, look at the size of this plot, 69.5 meter. Okay. I don't know what that would mean, but I think this plot would be at least 500, maybe 600 square meter. I'm going to share with everyone the link of this ordnance survey so you can use this tool to be able to find deals for yourself. I've shared it in the chat box.
Jack, that Linwood Road place you found is just a big house with a huge garden. That's all.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's all it is. It's one house in the front, massive, yep. massive garden.
Massive garden at the back. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, Moro. I think what Moro did was he went to Google Maps Street. And it allows you to see that, and then to be able to, in fact, Moro sent me this. I used to use this to be able to measure. You could just use Google Maps, and it allows you to measure with it how big the plot is. I've done this many times when I need it. Okay. Now, why was I covering this? And I can do this in a lot more detail with everyone, but maybe just a one single session is not enough. When you approach these people, let's say you approach, you make a list of, I can make a list of 100 of these plots within shy of a day. I approach these people, I get maybe one person say yes to me of the 100. I've got a deal lined up in a single day. Okay, as and when I'm ready to invest my time into something that's going to pay me £250,000, £500,000 without developing it, but just in planning uplift. Okay, that's what the aim is. That's what you want to focus on, because everything else, I mean, don't get me wrong, you still have to do sometimes the smaller deals. Okay. But then you can look at these deals where you can get planning permission for, 5, 10, 20 flats, or maybe even 10 townhouses. And then if you want to develop it, by all means, you can develop it too. But if you want to just work on the planning uplift gain, that will massively help you close deals, that will help you make 100 grand, or sometimes even £500,000 plus to £1 million in just planning uplifts. Okay. I've done these deals myself, so I can only share with you what I'm doing personally behind the scene. Like I said, just today alone, I was negotiating 6 deals, and different kinds of deals. Get me wrong. It literally is different kinds of deals. There are deals which are ready deals. You borrow money from an investor at 12% or 10% or 8% or 6%. But the deal is giving you 20, 25, 30%, and then you make the gap for yourself as the rental income. And there are deals which you can take now, start with the rental income, do the refurb or extension alongside, enjoy the rental income as well as add value. There was a HMO project that we were looking at. It wasn't really stacking up, but there are deals out there that stack up well. And then we're also looking at 3 other deals, which are conversion deals. That's commercial to resi conversion, commercial to resi deals. Of the 3 deals, one of them has planning permission, and then we are planning to submit the application for the other 2 as well while we are negotiating. It's a work in progress. So it really is about understanding deals and working really, really smart, guys. Okay. I think I've had 2 people. I'm pretty sure there are more people here who would say, oh, I struggle with time. I have 2 young kids. One is 3 years old. One is 9 years old. I have an elderly mother. I still never, ever say I struggle with time, purely because I understand the fact that as soon as I struggle with time, I am just not working smart enough. It's about working smart and not working hard, guys. You work hard when you work as a technician. You work hard, a lot more hard when you work as a manager, and you work a lot less harder when you work as a leader or the investor. If you don't have your own money, you can always, as a leader, bring investors on board, understand the gap in the deals. That means understanding how much the deal is making. Let's say it's making 20% return on money invested. You borrow money at anywhere between, like I said, 6 to 12%, and you make that gap for yourself. And always make sure that if you can hold on to the deal, what that does is that you work on the deal once, but then you enjoy the rental for many, many years. Please raise your hand if you know what I mean. Okay. My aim always is to find deals and hold on to them so I can enjoy the rental income gap. Okay. Literally, because that is what life-changing is. Like I said, you can do 5 deals like that, and you look back and you think, I never have to worry ever again for working, because you've got within 5 deals, you can have anywhere between 5 grand, sometimes even up to 20 grand of rental income coming to you. You never have to worry after that. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go back to the challenges that people were asking for. Russell, not a problem. I think I was also asked, how do you find investors? Okay. There's a bunch of ways that we do find investors. Okay. One of them is building your own community. Okay. Now, when you look at PEN and when you look at us doing events and sessions and stuff like that, it's all about building community and serving your community. How do we do this? I am personally a part of 800 plus Facebook property-based UK groups. I would normally go on it. I have a team that helps me out with this as well. But we would go on it, and let's say someone writes, I'm looking for finance, or I'm struggling to find a certain kind of deal. We would then jump in and say, we can help. Please join our community, WhatsApp community. If you're already not a part of our community, okay, WhatsApp community, I will ask Manik, my member here, team member here, if you can share the link to the WhatsApp community in the chat box. So we're going to share the link to the WhatsApp community in the chat box, and then you can join. What that does is that you can find investors not just through the community, but through us as well. Okay, so we are one of the largest property networks in the country. Okay, alone in the WhatsApp groups, okay, we have, I think, about 3,000 plus people. In our email database, we have 16,000 plus people. On our Facebook and LinkedIn groups, I think we have about 45,000 people. Okay. And along with those people in the network, we go and pitch it to people who we work closely with. We use a model called GROW to pitch and negotiate deals. Please write this down, guys. GROW stands for, so G is goals, R for reality, O for options, and W for will. All of my communication is structured around the GROW model. That's when I was asking you, what is the one big challenge? It stands for the R of reality of where you are. G stands for goals. That means I would normally ask you, where would you like to be? So from A to B, A is your reality, B is where you'd like to be. And then O stands for options. That means what options do we normally have to be able to help you in your journey? And the W stands for will. That's asking the closing question of would you like to go ahead? Okay. All of my communication is structured around GROW. That helps us attract investors into our community and be able to nurture those relationships and to be able to raise finance. I have personally pitched to about 50 plus investors in the last 2 months. Of the 50, 20 of them have money coming in the next 12 months. 2 of them have said yes. So they are investing alongside as we speak. And the rest of the 17 or 18 odd people are lining up money for the next 12 months for the deals that we are working on or going to be working on in the pipeline that they will be investing in. Okay. And that's only happened in the last 2 months because we've been now actively pitching to people about bringing their money into deals. Okay. Now I'll give you an example. Why would someone invest with you? Okay. Imagine if it's a doctor or an engineer or a scientist or a C-level executive, they'd normally not have enough time, but they would have lots of money sitting around. Please raise your hand if you know what I mean. Okay. Those are your target market. Please do not go and pitch it to seasoned investors. They're going to ask you to go and find a needle in a haystack, an exceptional deal, which you will struggle, and they're not going to give you the money. It's better to go and pitch it to people who are non-property related because they don't understand property. They will give you their money purely because they don't have money and they have lots of money and they don't know what to do with their money. Okay.
Sorry, Jack, did you say non-property investors?
I did say non-property, yes, Rajesh. Yeah, purely because property people expect a lot more. Okay, seasoned investors expect a lot more. And when you're especially starting out or you may be not as seasoned investor developer, you may not be able to find those kinds of deals to be able to help a seasoned property investor to invest with you. It's always better to pitch it to non-property people because they don't understand property. And then if you were to present them even with an average or an above average deal, they would likely going to invest. Okay. I'm going to ask Manik if he shared the link to the WhatsApp community. All right, so Manik has shared the link to the WhatsApp community. If you are already not a part of our WhatsApp community, please do join. I have covered how do you find below market value deals on Zoopla. You can do this on Rightmove, on the market, and so on. I also covered with you how do you find development deals, planning uplift deals on the labs.os that I shared the link in the group as well. You can also use Nimbus Maps, Land Insight, Property Data. They are definitely very, very good tools. Okay. Creating relationships with the local agents. That's always a primary one. They have very good control over the local market. Make sure you have good relationships with the local agents. Make sure on Rightmove and Zoopla, when you do a search, I'm going to share the screen so I can show you this as well. So on Zoopla, you can register. I'm gonna share the screen. So can you see my screen, guys? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, Jack.
Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to log into Zoopla. I'm already registered, so I'm just going to log in. Sign in. And when you do a search on Zoopla or Rightmove, let's say I'm going to do a search on Slough. And once I do that, and I create an email alert and save this search, can you see that? Save the search. Save your search and alert. Can you see that? It gave me the pop-up.
Yeah.
I click on that.
Yeah.
Return to search results. What it will now do is, when I wake up in the morning, every time a deal is uploaded in that region, I get an automated email by Zoopla. One of the deals that I shared earlier with you, that it came back in the market in Slough and I ended up getting it, is because I received that, because I saved that search and I received that email from Zoopla. The first thing in the morning I did was call 9 o'clock the agent. I was the first person walking in, I was the first person walking out, and I got the deal. Only because I'd used this feature of getting an alert for when a deal is uploaded on Zoopla in that region. Okay, so make sure you use the technology in your favor. Okay. So I've covered how to find below market value deals on Rightmove Zoopla by looking at the feature of most reduced. I also covered with you on labs.os how you can find planning uplift deals. You can use property filter, like I said, you can use Land Insight. All of these, make sure you have good relationship with the local agents. They can bring you deals. I also covered with you, for example, how do we attract more investors? By using Facebook groups, by using LinkedIn groups, by using LinkedIn Premium, by attending local events, by attending events like these and writing about yourself in the chat box about what you do and what you're looking for. There's 17 of us here. If I was you, and if you're, let's say, looking for funding for a certain deal, by all means, right here, I will not be surprised that 1 or 2 people here are sitting on money and they don't know what to do with their money. Okay, it's what you call networking at any given time. Okay, I have covered the basics with you. There's a lot more depth into being able to see through a deal that I cannot cover in this session. That needs another session in itself. Imagine if I was to show you, how do you look at a rent to HMO deal? How do you look at a flip deal? How do you look at a conversion deal? How do you look at a development or a planning uplift deal and appraise it in full to be able to see if it is profitable or not? Okay, because remember, let's say you look at a plot of land, and let's say the value of the existing value of the land is, let's say, £1 million. And you now go and do an appraisal. And after the appraisal, you find out that even after adding planning, the value of the land remains only £1 million. There's no uplift in the value or maximizing the land value, then it's not necessarily worth doing a development there. It's only when you do a full appraisal and when you realize from the appraisal that we can maximize the land value, in this case, to let's say 1.5 million or more, it's only then it's worth doing the deal on that piece of land. Please raise your hand if you know what I mean. So that requires a session in and itself. I will do that session another day, not today. Okay. I'm going to go through everyone and ask if you have questions in what I've shared with you today alone. Okay. Rajesh, Stefan, Imran, Michael, Yas, Milani, Hassan, Damir, Colm, Moses, Adiola, Surendra, Ahmed, Ismail, Moro, please do share if you have any more challenges in what I've shared today alone, not anything outside that, but what I've shared alone today. I'd like to see if you have clarity on what I've shared. Please raise your hand if you got the gist of what I've just shared today. today, just what I've covered today? Please raise your hand. I want to see if you've got the gist of what I just shared today. Please open your cameras or raise your hand on Zoom so I can see through. This just does give me a feedback on how we are doing on what we need to cover. If you'd like me to share in the next session on the appraisals, I'd be happy to do that. And that's appraisals of a rent to HMO. Remember, guys, one of the things that I shared in my journey is that learning is only one aspect of it. Learning the depth is the important bit, but learning is one aspect of it. Just learning alone is not going to make you money. What makes money is money in account. That's not when you raise investment. It's when you sell the deal or hold on to the asset and you see profits in your account. It's when I call closing the deal. And that only happens when you don't sit on the edge and you make a move. You execute on ground, okay? It's about getting those no's and learning creatively to change them into yeses, okay? It's about pitching to investors and getting a no and going back to that investor and saying, look, I missed this part. I want to see what are your thoughts on that? And then you change that no into a yes. Going and pitching it to 100 people and maybe only getting 2 or 3 yeses. That's what the journey is, guys. That's what the journey is, okay? Quickly finding out if the person actually has any money or not. Asking for proof of funds. 5 minutes into the call, just ask for proof of funds. If they don't give it to you, the likely is they don't have the money. They don't have the money ready. Okay, don't waste your time going and pitching for 2 hours and realizing, well, the guy doesn't even have the money ready. Okay, these are the skills you need to build to be able to save your time. Both my hands up, saving time to be able to work very, very smart. Okay, when we do sessions like these and we
Jack,
upload them on different channels. Yes, Rajesh, go ahead.
Yes, I know we've discussed this before many times, but with regards to investors, so I got an investor and I spoke to Mauro about this.
Yeah.
He contacted me because he saw one of my videos when I was going around my property, local properties, but he's looking for an HMO in my area. There's no Article 4, and I've checked Zoopla, Rightmove, gone to agents. There isn't anything there. I've contacted one agent. I don't know who he's been in touch with it. He ideally wants the HMO from me, but if I can't find anything, because he's looking for areas with no Article 4. So I've asked him other area. I've told him other areas, but how do I check if my question is, how do I check if a area has Article 4 or not? Is there a website or something?
On the local council's website.
On the local council website and land registry.
This information is all on the local council's website. If it's not there and the local council is really old school, you need to pick up the phone and speak with them. Okay. Even the local HMO register should be on the local council's website. And if it's not there, you can call them up and they should give it to you because it's public information. The way to find HMO deals is really just approaching these landlords. Okay. Most of them are baby boomers tired landlords. They're not very difficult to find, guys.
And with you were saying earlier, you may need to pitch to 100 people, right? And 1 or 2. Is that what's been your experience yourself when you've been pitching? Okay, so remember, it depends on your credibility in the market. My average is if I go and pitch it to about 50 people, 20 will say yes. So about 40%. And that's because I've been fortunate enough to build credibility in the market. Okay, so I am very, very quick. I jump on a call. 5 minutes later, I'd ask for proof of funds. If they don't have the money, I'm not going to pitch. No point pitching to someone who doesn't have the money ready. And I'll just respectfully say, look, I'll come back to you when you have the money ready. By all means, I will give you the deal that's available in that moment. Okay, but my average is much, much higher than average. The average, if you were to do it, if you're newbie or you're new in the industry, the likely you're going to probably touch about 2 or 3%. Okay, so if you pitch it to 100 people, it's only 2 or 3% people that will give you a yes. Okay, and that's if you're good at pitching. Okay, if you're bad at pitching, that may be lower.
Okay, but like I said, remember, credibility is compounded as well. Okay, so when you do it for over a longer period of time and you've created lots of content and you've served the community, you've built your community, that percentage would keep increasing. And I can tell you, just the last 6 months, we pitched it to about 50 odd people, maybe probably less than 50 people. And we've had about 20 yeses. But remember, of those 20 yeses, only 2 have money ready. 18 of those or 17 of those have money lined up coming in the next 12 months. So I got to make sure that there are deals lined up in a way that we can serve them. At the same time, making sure that the deals are structured in a way that I can hold on to them to enjoy the benefit of the rental income from them. Because there's no point, picking up a deal, selling it, I make 10, 20, 30, 50 grand, I walk away with it. Yes, it's profitable, but it doesn't give that consistent profit over a period of time or the lifetime. That's a lot more better. So my aim is always to work on deals where I can structure it, where I make 500, 1,000, 2,000 a month for the rest of my life, or at least many, many years, in the future.
That's
Okay.
great. Thank you, Jack, for answering.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Anyone else has any questions? Please do ask in the chat box, or just open your mic and please do ask. All right, guys, let me just say this, okay?
Will we get a copy of the recording?
Yes, it's recorded. I will share it. I'll be sharing it in the WhatsApp community.
Okay.
So please do join the WhatsApp community if you want. Okay. So let me just share this with everyone because it's so important. A lot of people just don't get this stuff. Okay. Remember, sourcing is a side hustle. Don't make that as a main strategy. Your main strategy needs to be focusing on getting your own deals done. Okay. It's when you do your own deals, that's when you build rental income. That's when you make substantial profits, which means that you got to align 2 things: the right deal, which stacks up, and the investor at the same time. Okay. That is what's at the core of it. Okay. Because that's what's going to bring you substantial money. Okay. I'm going to go to the chat messages to see. I would be happy to show you how deals are structured in another session. Hassan, structuring deals is another session in itself. It's not something that can be quickly covered. There's a million ways to structure a deal. The easiest one is you bring the deal, you develop the deal or gain the planning gain. The investor, you bring the investor into the picture. He walks away with 30 to 50% of the profits. You walk away with anywhere between 50 to 70% of the profits. And then potentially you hold on to the deal. You get someone else to develop it, but you hold on to the units. Or another way of structuring it is, let's say it's a ready-made deal, and someone else brings the money, you get the deal done, but you're paying the investor, let's say 12%, and the money is going to make you, the deal is going to make you 20, 25, 30%, and then you make the gap in between as in rental income for the rest of your life or for as long as you hold on to the deal. Okay, that's really just the 2 main core ways of structuring deals. I hope that answers your question to some extent. Like I said, there's a million ways of structuring a deal. One of the deals that I did was I sourced the deal. I charged the sourcing fee in the form of shares in the deal. So I paid less towards the deal itself. I became a partner in the deal. And then I held on to the deal for rental income. Okay, that's a deal that I did personally. Another deal that I shared earlier with you was an option agreement that we did. We signed up option agreement at £1, delayed completion 24 months later. We got the planning permission for 8 units. We sold the option agreement, just the agreement itself. So our investment was only 20 grand between leaguers, architects, and planners. And we sold the option agreement for 1.7 million, making the arbitrage or the gap between the agreed price of 1.1 and 1.7. That's a 600 grand profit. Okay, like I said, there's a million ways of structuring a deal. Surinder said, I understand today, but looking forward to clear conversion uplift details session. That means doing an appraisal. I will announce a session that will help you, Surinder. Looking for the next session. Thank you, Michael. Sourcing is a side hustle. Sourcing, all of this is a side hustle. Your main source of income needs to be either rent to HMO if you have less money. If you have more money, flips. If you have a bit more money, then conversions and developments. And if you have a lot more knowledge, once you gain the skills and the knowledge, that you can work on planning uplifts. Imran said, how can I work with you and find investors and so on? Imran, please send me a WhatsApp message and I'll be happy to jump on a quick call with you to explore this. Okay. Sorry, you have to leave. That's great. Surinder, good to have you.
Jack.
Apologies, please. Yes, go ahead, Rajesh.
Sorry, as you know, I'm not working at the moment, but are you still doing the 365 pen
We
thing?
are, yes, we are.
Okay.
So another thing that we're changing is, and I want to share this with everyone. So we are bringing something. I've been wanting to share this with everyone like for a long time, but I wasn't able to structure this in the right way. Okay. So for us to convert a deal, or for us to convert a lead into a paying client, it costs us over £200. Okay, so imagine on this session, we had about in and out 20 odd people. Okay, just to bring 20 people into a room, it costs us 200 plus just to bring 20 people into a room. Okay, so 200 times 20. Okay, that's the kind of money we pay just to be able to bring people into a room. Okay, so the cost to us is £200. We have created a product which is really just breaking even. We don't necessarily make profits on it, which is 365 for the year. That's only £1 a day. Okay, so really we don't really make much money on it, but we use this as a front-end product to help and serve the community. What would you get in this 365 for the year? You just pay once a year, 365 when you join, and for the rest of the year, you get access to 190 hours of premium property trainings. That's 190 hours of premium property trainings covering every single strategy that I've shared with you today in detail. That's how to find investors, how to raise investment, how to find rent to HMO deals, how to find flip deals, how to find conversion deals, how to find planning uplift deals, how to appraise them, how to structure your deals, how to make them profitable, how to hold on to these assets, how to rinse and repeat. It covers pretty much every aspect of it. If you'd like to access those trainings, they are worth £12,000. You'd be able to see through these when you start watching these trainings. We used to sell them for £12,000. We are now giving them for literally £1 a day. Okay, and that's because I want to do JVs with you. I want to do collaborations with you. I want to work alongside you because the money is in the deals. So if you'd like to join us for £1 a day, please send me a message on my WhatsApp. I'll leave the number in my WhatsApp. If you already have my number, great. Send me a WhatsApp message. I've shared my number in the chat box. Or if you already have my WhatsApp number, please send me a WhatsApp message by saying 365 or session, either 365 or session, and I'll share the details with you, or I'll jump on a quick call with you to be able to explain if you might have any questions. Okay? And yes, Rajesh, yeah, that's available. And if you'd like to sign up, just send me a message and I'll get you started. Okay. Anyone else has any questions that you'd like to ask, or we can wrap up today's session. Like Jack, I said, there's a lot more detail into this. Yes, please go ahead.
Jack, I just want to book a call with you in the next 2 weeks because I want to do the Pen 365 like we discussed.
That's perfect. Right? Just reach out to me. I'll be able to help you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for today.
Okay. No problem. Malani, Imran,
Jack,
Damir, Ismail, yes, Calm, Ahmed, Damir, Jack, if you have any questions, please do ask.
Yes. Just a short one. This is a little bit too big, actually. When you go there and find out the property for potential uplift, so when you come, how you actually secure that property?
Knock the door. Speak with the landlord.
I see. Okay. Just that.
If they don't answer, leave a note.
Okay.
Speak with the neighbors.
Yeah. Okay. No, but
That's
for example, if I come across a house or whatever, you know, and then I have a hunch, let's say that it could be, but I'm not 100% sure. Of course, when you go through several deals or many deals, you already have everything kind of in the back of your mind.
yes.
But when you're at the very beginning, you just feel that there is something, and then you go there and you speak to them, but then you have to actually prove to them and to yourself that there is a deal, you know, then so and then
Yes.
you want actually what's my question? I, for example, at the moment, I'm not that skillful, so I would need time to go through the deal and then assess it. So how to secure that property before I actually make all this, and that somebody else doesn't jump in and take it away? You know, that's
Okay, so the answer is you need to understand the depth of appraising a deal. Okay, you need to understand planning, you need to understand the local policy, you need to understand government policy, you need to understand all of that. It's not something you can learn in a few short months. It's a process. I've been doing this for 21 years.
Okay.
Part-time, I started this full-time in 2017. So this is 2024. I've been doing full-time for 7+ years. Okay. And I've been doing part-time property for 21 years. Okay. It does take time. It's not something you can learn in short months. Like I said, you need to understand the government policy. You need to understand the national planning policy. You need to understand the local policy. You need to understand the proposal map, which is the local council's map. You need to understand where you can find these deals, like I shared with you earlier. And also, before you even approach them, that you understand that there is potential there to be able to gain or maximize land value. Okay. And that's when you approach them, and then you open a dialogue. Remember, you don't close the deal the first time you meet them. The first time when you meet them, it's all about, okay, getting to know the person and what are their thoughts on, you know, getting into an agreement with you where you bring skills and time investment, and they will bring in their deal, and you don't necessarily buy it, but take an option agreement on the deal. Because imagine if you have to buy £1 million deal, and in the worst case scenario, you don't get planning permission, then you're stuck.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Okay, so you have to be very careful with deals like that. Unless you're 100% sure you're going to get planning permission, then by all means go and buy a deal that's worth £1 million, and you know you can get planning permission to 1.5, 1.7 million planning uplift, and you make that kind of money. But if you're not that sure, then you just work on option agreement. Again, all of this. Remember, one of the things that I share all the time with people is that, you know, either it is fortunate or unfortunate, whichever way you look at it. I look at this as a fortunate thing, that your bank account and your wealth is a direct reflection of your skills. It's your skills. It's nothing else. It's how much you focus on a certain aspect of a property, and you go into the depth of it, and you say, I am going to do a certain kind of deal, and I'm going to learn so much so that no one else knows more than me, and then I can bring so much value on the table that someone would feel stupid to say no. Someone would feel stupid to say no to me. Are you with me? So, you know, you want to get to a point where someone sits with you and you know so much about planning and developments that someone sits and thinks, wow, I would actually feel bad if I was to not do a JV collaboration with this guy. Like, this guy knows everything about planning. Okay, you probably never know everything about planning, but you know what I mean by really building your knowledge and your skills level.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And like I said, there's multiple sessions that can be done on multiple aspects of the property. It's not something that can be covered in a single section. Okay. All right, guys.
Thinking, you know,
if you would like, sorry, go ahead, Imran.
I was just going to say, from the sound of things, with the amount of knowledge required for planning, it's probably not the best thing if you're not from property, like I'm not, to get started with. Then is it? It's really.
Yeah. So if you're new, maybe a good idea is to focus on smaller flips.
Right.
Yeah, smaller flips. Yeah. You do need quite substantial knowledge to be able to dip into planning uplift game. it's not for faint-hearted. Let's say you do need to be
Can you do the
practicing
small
this every
flips
day.
without capital though? Can you
Sorry?
do the small? Can you do the small flips if you don't have enough capital yourself?
Why not raise external investment if you don't have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do it all the time. Imran, I do it all the time.
Jack, can I just share quickly for you, man?
Yeah.
Imran, I've also got like a tool that
Yeah.
allows you to backtrack a flip from basically from how much money it's going to cost and everything else, and how much money you're going to put in and everything else, so that when you present that to an investor, all the numbers are right in front of him or her. So I've got
Oh,
a
wow.
nice tool I can share with you. It's basically
Yeah.
like Jack was saying, it allows you to work the flip from the back. So basically, for example, let's say you've got the money, you've got everything, you know, it will allow you to basically say, okay, I'm going to put this much, this is how much the property is going to cost, this is how much is going to be left in the deal, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's
It's
brilliant.
like
Yeah.
what they call appraisal.
Yeah, an
It
appraisal.
appraises the deal.
Yeah. Basically, it's an appraisal of the deal.
So how
Yeah.
can I get that from you?
He will give it to you.
I'll give it to you. I'll just give it to you, Imran. So it's free, so don't worry about it.
All right,
Okay.
okay. Connect with each other, guys. Maybe share your number with each other. Also, guys, if you'd like me to help you in your journey, please send me a WhatsApp message and just say session. I'll book you in for a quick call, and then I will see what we can do for you. And have an absolutely rest of the evening, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you. Bye.